I am Dr. Vinita Badoria, Associate Professor of English, Government College, Behror. Arms in the Men is a play written by George Bernard Shaw. It is prescribed in BA final year, paper first. George Bernard Shaw is famous for his role in revolutionizing comic drama. He was also a literary critic and a prominent British socialist. Shaw's most financially successful work is Pygmalion was adapted into the popular Broadway musical My Fair Lady. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1925, which he got or received in 1926. George Bernard Shaw was writing in during 19th century. His time period was 1856 to 1950. He was known at his insistence simply as Bernard Shaw, was an Irish playwright, critic, polemist, and political activist. His influence on Western theatre, culture, and politics extended from the 1880s till his death. George Bernard Shaw was well known as Bernard Shaw. He was born on 26 July 1856 in Portobello, Dublin, Ireland. George Bernard Shaw was born in Dublin, Ireland, as the youngest of three children. He was raised in genteel poverty, and his mother's career as a professional singer influenced his interest in music, art, and literature. He remained relatively impoverished throughout his 20s, trying his hand at novel writing several times to no avail. Shaw wrote rather unmemorable fiction throughout his 20s and early 30s. In 1885, the drama critic William Archer recruited Shaw to write a book, art, and musical reviews in various publications. In 1895, Shaw began writing for the Saturday Review as a theatre critic, and from there he began to write his first plays. His influence on Western theatre, culture, and politics extended from the 1880s till his death and beyond. He has dual nationality, British nationality from 1856 to 1950 till his death, and Irish nationality from 1934 to 1950, that means till his death. Shaw's plays are thematically diverse. He wove threads of humor and romance between analysis of contemporary hypocrisies and social tensions. About the beginning of the 20th century, Shaw began affixing lengthy prefaces to his plays that engaged more deeply with their philosophical foundation. He joined the Gradualist Fabian Society and became its most prominent pamphleteer, followed Marxism and socialism. In the mid 1880s, George Bernard Shaw joined the Fabian Society, a newly formed socialist club for middle class intellectuals hoping to transform English society through culture. He remained a socialist for the rest of his life. He also became a pacifist and an anti war activist, attracting much criticism during World War I. Shaw remained a committed socialist throughout his life and career. Many of his plays, including Mrs. Warren's Profession and Pygmalion, for which he got Nobel Prize in 1925, are underpinned by social politics, addressing issues such as women's rights, poverty, and capitalism. After leaving school in 1871, he became a junior clerk in a Dublin firm of land agents where he worked hard and quickly rose to become head cashier. During this period, Shaw was known as George Shaw. After 1876, he dropped the George and styled himself Bernard Shaw. He was died on 2nd November 1950 in Ayotte, St. Lawrence in United Kingdom. Major works of Bernard Shaw. Shaw was not only a playwright, he was a social reformer. He plays, his plays dealt with the social problems of contemporary time and address individual social, political, or ethical issues. Shaw's major plays of the first decade of the 20th century address individual social, political, or ethical issues. Man and Superman stands apart from the other in both its subject and its treatment, giving his interpretation of creative evolution in a combination of drama and associated. He continues his earlier examination of middle class British society from a Fabian viewpoint, with additional touches of melodrama and an epilogue in which theatre critics discuss the play. He became a, he began writing as a play for children, became a study of the nature of religion and how to put Christian precepts into practice. To correct the impression left by the original performers that the play portrayed a romantic relationship between the two main characters, he rewrote the ending to make it clear that the heroine will marry another minor character. Shaw's political and social commentaries were published variously in Fabian tracts, in essays, in two full length books, in innumerable newspapers and journal articles, and in prefaces to his plays. The majority of his Fabian tracts were published anonymously, representing the voice of the society rather than of Shaw. Although the society secretly confirmed Shaw's authorship. After the turn of 20th century, Shaw increasingly propagated his ideas through the medium of his plays. An early critic, writing in 1904, observed that his dramas provided a pleasant means of prose listing his socialism. The Fabian movement in 1911, his writings were more personal and often provocative. His response to the furor following the issue of Common Sense about the war in 1940. The major plays written by Shaw are Widower's House, published in 1893, The Philanderer, 1898, Arms and the Men, published in 1898, The Man of Destiny, published in 1898, The Devil's Disciple, published in 1901, Caesar and Cleopatra, published in 1901, Man and Superman, published in 1930, Saint John, published in 1924, The Apple Cart, published in 1930, Pygmalion, published in 1941, and this was the play for which he got Nobel Prize for Literature in 1925 and got an Academy Award for the movie based on Pygmalion, which is marked by idealism and humanity both. Its stimulating satire often being infused with a singular poetic beauty. Arms and the Men is a romantic comedy written in three acts by George Bernard Shaw. It was written in 1893 and published in 1898. It was first performed on the stage in 1894. It is a clash between knowledge and ignorance and between realism and romanticism. The title Arms and the Man is taken from the opening lines of Virgil's Aeneid, Amma Vermucano, Latin language for I sing of arms in the men. In Virgil's poem, it signifies that the work belongs to an epic tradition telling a tale of an ancient hero and brave and heroic deeds. Shaw explains the theme of love and war by juxtaposing authentic love and realistic responses to war against false romances and false heroism. In this play, Sergius represents both false romance and false heroism. Sergius pretends to be in love with Raina, the women from his own class he is expected to love and marry. It is a comedy of manners and a social satire. Arms and the Men is most obviously an attack on the false ideals of warfare and the soldier's profession. Late 19th century British society, especially the aristocratic element, tended to see war as noble and soldiers as brave, courageous, fearing nothing, resolved to conquer or die. Many military melodramas of the period upheld these virtues, but they were performed for a civilian audience. Soldiers themselves did not think this way, as Shaw has bluntly made clear. Not a pacifist, Shaw is not opposed to war when necessary, but he does demand that it be seen for what it is. War makes men tired and hungry, afraid and nervous. In the person of Bluntschli, and in his comments about battle, Shaw establishes the opposition with Raina and Sergius, the arch romantics of the play. The satire of the play is aimed at the poetic view of war and the soldier and at the commonplace conjunction between the soldier, aristocracy, and love. These were the staples of the standard military melodrama of the period. Here, Raina breaks the pattern in which only the brave deserve the fair and chooses for her mate the practical, professional, middle class Bluntschli. The key elements of the play are really contained in Sergius and Raina rather than in Bluntschli. Bluntschli really never changes in the course of the play. He is the standard against which the other are measured. Raina learns to disabuse herself of her impossible ideals, ideals which have no relation to real life, and thus becomes a fit partner for the cool and efficient Bluntschli. Sergius, however, never does come to see the lesson taught by Bluntschli and Shaw, that the problem is not with a man's inability to live up to the ideals, but with a man's initial acceptance of impossible ideals as reasonable and real. Thus, Sergius believes that he and life generally is to be despised because, as a flesh and blood man, he finds himself unable to match the ideals. For the playwright, the problem is with the ideals, not with the men. From this point of view, Arms and the Men is a classical statement of the anti romantic view of life, and its commentary is not directed only at the military. For example, the play presents a version of common Shavian theme, the professional versus the amateur. The difference is not simply a matter of training, it is fundamentally a matter of attitude. It is Sergius' attitude, not his lack of expertise, which marks him as an amateur. Life is serious for Shaw and Bluntschli, and romantic idealism makes folly of life because of its unreality and its impossibility of attainment. As Shaw made clear throughout his career, he was hoping to change attitudes and not simply amused by outrageous foolery. Shaw satirizes the romantic notions about war that glorify a grisly business. If not for the comic dialogues, the audience would more easily recognize that they are being presented with a soldier who has escaped from a horrific battle after 3 days of being under fire. It is also noteworthy that Catherine is dissatisfied with the peace treaty because, in her unrealistic vision of glorious war, there is supposed to be crushing rout of the enemy, followed by celebrations of a heroic victory. Shaw's message here is that there can be peaceful alternatives to perpetual fighting. He was dedicated throughout his life and curbing violence, especially that of wars, and Arms and the Men was one of the vehicles he used to plead his case. He was the master of flirt and he enjoyed a playful farce of romantic intrigue. But he recognized that playing a game differed from serious love and he tried to convey as much in Arms and the Men, which is subtitled an anti romantic comedy. In the play, Raina and Sergius have paired themselves for all the wrong reasons because their social status requires a mate from the same social level, and because Sergius plays the role of type of hero that Raina has been taught to admire, and Raina plays the role that Sergius expects from a woman of her station. The problem is that neither is portraying their real life self, so their love is based on outward appearance, not on the true person beneath the facade. They are both acting out a romance according to their idealized standards for courtship, rather than according to their innermost feelings. Just as the cheerleader is expected to fall for the star quarterback, Raina has fallen for her brave army officer who looks handsome in his uniform. When Bluntschli and Locke force Raina and Sergius to examine their true feelings, Raina and Sergius discover that they have the courage and desire to follow their hearts instead of seeking to meet social expectations. As a socialist, Shaw believed in the equality of all people and abhorred discrimination based on gender and social class. These beliefs are evident in relationship quoted in Arms and the Men. Shaw allows a maid to succeed in her ambitions to better herself by marrying Sergius, an officer and a gentleman. This match also means that Sergius has developed the courage to free himself from the expectations of his class and instead married the woman he loves. Arms and the Men illustrates the conflict between idealism and realism. The romantic ideal of war as a glorious opportunity for a man to display courage and honor is dispelled when Sergius admits that his heroic cavalry charge that won the battle was the wrong thing to do. His notable action does not get him his promotion, and Sergius learns that shouldering, my dear madam, is the coward's art of attacking mercilessly when you are strong and keeping out of harm's way when you are weak. Sergius and Raina must face the fact that their ideas about love are false. Fortunately, both of them are actually released by this knowledge to pursue their true love. But first, Sergius goes through a period of despair in which he questions whether life is futile if the ideals by which he has set his standards of conduct fail to hold up when exposed to reality. This question is an underlying current throughout the play. Shaw gives a happy resolution, but it is a serious question that most people must face in life. This is all in this video. I have explained and analyzed the play for you. Thank you very much.